Hi everybody and welcome back to the Gentleman's Talk. Your dulcet tones of James Dean Littlejohn battering your eardrums is back. How are we? How are you? I'm going to start off by apologising. Obviously, I have missed Reflection Sunday. No excuse. Did I reflect on myself? I did. I still did the meditation side of things. I still did the reflection. Still walked with my dog. Still did the good stuff. I didn't do the bit that is extended from that. I didn't do the whole podcast bit. And I was discreetly, shall we say? I think discreetly is probably the easiest way to try and describe the bollocking that I have received from a very good friend of mine, the number one fan that is the Nelster, Nelly boy. I know you're listening. But I'm going to read what he sent to me. He said, I am reflectionless on Sunday. So I think a discreet way of trying to describe to me that I haven't done what I do, and at the same time, it's his routine. His routine is listening to me, and I've let him down. So it just goes to show, though, from my perspective, it's a really rewarding feeling that I have impacted that one person. I talk all the time about mental health. I talk all the time about doing this and, 3,000 downloads. I do get some really big lulls in the downloads in the sense it doesn't reach massive amounts. But I've always said along those lines, that's not what I'm after. I'm not after changing the world. I'm not after the accolade of going, oh, look at me talking about mental health. No, I'm not after that. This isn't why I do this. I do this for me personally. But I do it very much hoping that I influence enough or influence that one person, shall we say, influence or support just that one person. And it's very rewarding to know that I am a key part to a very good friend of mine, to his routine, because that helps him. And I let him down. And do you know what? I'm going to take that on board. I'm going to make sure that I don't, because at the same time, I do it just for myself. I do it not just for myself, sorry. I don't just do it for myself. I do it to help people. And hopefully that awareness then spreads and we understand that it's okay to talk and we understand that it's okay to express ourselves. But to help that one person, I got told off. So I took the discreet bollocking, and here I am. Here's the tones. We're back. And I'm excited, actually. I'm in a fucking great mood. I said that so aggressively. I'm in a fucking great mood. I did. Because how can you not be happy when the sun's out? I don't know. Honestly, it just lifts my spirits. Literally, the sun came out today. The flip-flops have come out. They've come out of hibernation. Now, I don't normally put them in hibernation. I'm normally a 24/7, 365 days a year man with flip-flops. I'm a flip-flopper. However, it's been fucking wet. And there's only a few things in life that we like wet, and feet is not one of them. I can assure you of that. So I put them away, but they came out today. I felt elated. That's the word I'm going to use here. I felt elated. Just because it was warm. I mean, I always forget that at this time of year that you might see a bit of sun and it might perk up a little bit of heat. We got to 15 degrees, but the fucking temperature in the evenings, like the desert, is fucking bosh. Hailstones at night sort of thing. True story, that happened to me. That happened to me on Operic 11, and that's the first time I've ever seen that. I didn't realise it was a true thing. I was out in Afghan, and we went in the season where it was like cold. And literally it was, blistering. We're talking fucking almost 50 degrees during the day. And then in the evening it was fucking hailstones. Like literally, I remember being in Afghan, freezing my fucking tits off. Literally going, what the fuck is this? I couldn't believe it. I was doubled up, like triple socks, the fucking lot. And then the next morning you get up and it's fucking blistering. You're like, I don't get this. And, people talk about climate change. That shit was happening in fucking when I went, which was, 2008, I think. 2008, I think, maybe, somewhere around then. Anyway, I digressed massively again, didn't I? But yeah. Anyway, it pulls it back round. But I've had a great. It's the sun. It's just the sun makes you feel good. You instantly want to get out amongst nature. I was getting out amongst nature today. I was with the dog, walking the pooch. I was, looking at the trees blossom. I was looking at the ground sort of starting to harden now. It's not soft. I was looking at the grass coming through, my grass in my garden. It just made me feel happy. Really, really did. And that's the true spirit of getting out amongst nature. We really do forget that. And I think it's always difficult during winter time. And I think we all probably suffer a little bit of, that seasonal effects disorder because, we all get a bit depressed. I only remember last weekend I was in the shops and I must have heard 6, maybe 7 people saying, of all age groups, saying how depressed they were that it was pissing down with rain. And I don't know why, but, April's is traditionally, the old saying is April showers. But for some reason, it just feels longer and longer. These winters seem to get longer and harsher. And then when that sun perks up, you see people walking around, the titties and the taddies, they come out. Everything starts falling out in summer. It's a great time. Everyone's got smiles. Tops off, flip-flops on, no fucks given. It's a great time. And we don't get enough of it anyway. We know that. But yeah, I felt elated. We're going to use that word. We're going to absolutely drone on about the elation of the sun. What have I got to reflect on? Fucking loads, actually. Which is going to draw me in eventually. It's going to draw me into what I want to talk about. My little topic, my little ensemble for today. I'm going to break into that. But first, reflection time. I've really been focusing on myself heavily, actually. I've been a little bit selfish. I've had to be selfish again. It's amazing that sometimes you have to be selfish to try and pull yourself back round again. I go a bit quiet. That's the only downside to me is normally I'm like quite outrageous. And I think this does feed into the ADHD aspect, but I do absolutely sort of draw myself in. I tend to shut everyone away, and for me, that's when it gets a little bit difficult. But what I've been doing, obviously, is really trying to work on myself. So in that selfish, you've got to, I think, when you're being like that, it's okay to be like that. I think it's okay. I'm going to say it's okay because I don't think that anybody, you shouldn't be forced to be a social person. You should do it on your own terms. But normally when you sort of, when you become an introvert, so to speak, so if we're going to put a label on something, extrovert, introvert, and I don't really think there are much categories. I think we're all just different people. I think that if you want to classify it as something, if you do become in that introvert section, say for instance you're not, and I'm talking not really in the sense of you're an introvert at standard. Some people are like that. Some people have that natural personality that they don't want to socialize, and if you can kind of relate it to sort of kind of an autistic trait. They don't really like that social aspect. They get sort of the nervousness and things like that. I know that my beautiful brother, his daughter, it was Autism Day, so he celebrated that. He celebrated that day with his daughter because his daughter's got autism, and I know that he struggled with the social aspect quite a lot, and I think that that's why it's a little bit relatable to me because I've heard him, deal with it from a parent's perspective, his own daughter. So some people are like that. It can be mentally health based, but what I'm saying is I'm more talking about the spectrum, and this is more about the okay to talk bit, the bit where depression has taken hold of you and you've become that introvert style then, where you've shut yourself down, you're not socializing with your friends, your partner, you're just not looking after yourself, you're unhealthy, you're not very well all the time, you're all these really bad things start happening, don't they? You put on weight, you lose interest in you sort of getting your hair cut, all these things I'm talking about. That's what I mean. So when you draw yourself into that level where you stop doing all those, that's the introvert state. So that's the bit we need to look out for. And I think for me, if you were going to sort of kind of, that's when you get into that state, it's okay to be in that state. It's not a problem because We all need to sometimes to protect ourselves. I think men use it as I certainly do. I use it as a protection factor when I'm emotionally burnt out and I'm sort of kind of, I've had enough of society. And again, it's very relatable for me because I'm learning about my ADHD. So that's become part of that. And it's a massive part. If you ever look up ADHD or check out my my premium podcast where I'm talking about ADHD and the growth of it and learning to live with it, understanding I now have been diagnosed with it. For me, that kind of basis is understanding it, and that becomes, you can get emotional burnout, and that's when sometimes I use it as a protection factor. So I shut myself down, but there's no difference to why you would do that if you had mental health problems, stress, anxiety, depression. You will do that as a protection factor. That is one of the key signs that we look out for. If your friend has all of a sudden become that person, that's the sign you need to try and break in, try and make sure he's okay. But to look at it from a positive perspective, I suppose, in as best as we can, to try and put a spin on it. If you're ever in that situation where you've become like that, what you need to do, and this is what I now do, this is the reason why I'm talking about it, is because this is the development piece, the piece where we're developing ourselves to better understand ourselves. And what I do is when I get into that protective state, and I do it quite often because I do get a lot of emotional burnout. I'm constantly on the go. I'm constantly trying, different artworks. There's pressure everywhere. So for me, I get a lot of this. I have to protect myself. And I do shut down. Sometimes I don't message my friends. Sometimes I just literally, I don't even sit in the house. I sit in my man cave out the back, listening to music, just not thinking about anything. That's the protection state. But what you need to do, and this is the development piece that I've grown to adapt over the last 15 months, I think. I've been doing this podcast and learning about myself. What I've done is use that time wisely to understand why you're like this, to understand what's wrong, what's going on in your head. So it's fine to lock in that protection status, absolutely. But if you're not going to use it as a positive and you're going to sit and wallow in that self-pity, you're never going to develop yourself. You're never going to give yourself the gusto that you need, to get out there and change. And I don't mean change as in change your personality, you're a piece of shit. That's why you're depressed. I'm not talking about, I mean change as in understand yourself. It's amazing really how so many people forget that the journey you're on is your journey. Okay. It's not your wife's partner, lover, whatever. It's not their partner. It's not your child's journey. It's your journey. What you choose to do on your journey is up to you. I mean, obviously, we have our morals. We need morals, don't we? So we would never, as long as your path and journey doesn't hurt or, influence or obstruct life in any way, shape or form to other people. So don't go out there and start fucking chucking semen everywhere and fucking having kids all over the place and then not have the moral understanding to develop those, because that becomes part of your path. You chose that path to have that intercourse, to have that child. So you do your due diligence. That's the moral bit that a lot of people, unfortunately, forget, unfortunately. But what we need to do is, look at those things. As long as you're in that area, as long as you're using that time when you're in protection mode to develop yourself, understand yourself, find why you're doing this, because we can all sit in bed. I've done it. I've done it so many times. I've not got out of bed. I've struggled. When I'm in my low, I don't want to get out of bed. It's fucking impossible. I will literally, and I know I did this because I did this a couple of weeks ago. It was only a couple of weeks I was in my shit place. I'm a little bit happier now because I don't know. I do know. I'm going to break into the subject of why I feel I'm a little bit happier of recent. And I think that, but it's tied into this. So when you're in that protection mode, you need to understand yourself. You can't just sit there and blame everybody else. There's many podcasts where I say, you need accountability. You've got to take charge of your path. You've got to take charge of where you want to go. It's literally today that I was in work today and I was creating a training presentation I've got to do in front of the whole of the whole of my region at one of the conferences. Now, I broke into when I did the presentation. I did it in such a way that I tried to structure it to incorporate mental health, because not many people, a lot of people go into work and they don't upskill themselves. They don't use the budgets that are there to train themselves. They just go through life accepting what they've been told, accepting what's around them, and accepting being told to do things. And a lot of people don't have that ability to go, I want more, and I do. I mean, and I'm not being big-headed by this at all. I mean, this is I think a bit of a negative, really, because I'm in this fucking addiction phase at the moment where I'm not settling into roles. I want more all the time. Now, I've got my fucking best mate will tell you, I've gone from sitting settled in jobs for a long time, for sort of 12 years and then 10 years, to I potentially looking at my third job in 3 years. Like, each year I've just gone, nah, fucking done. I've learnt that job, happy with that, move on. Well, that's going to be difficult for me because I'm constantly stressing myself. But there's a development opportunity. The reason I'm doing it is for development. So, and I did this training package today and I incorporated mental health because not a lot of people realise that there's so many key elements that can disrupt your own mental health, and you don't use the channels that are there to mitigate that risk, to stop that from happening. When you go into work, how many people have gone into work and go, I don't feel happy here? Okay, have you actively looked? No. Have you actively tried to think about what you like? No. Okay then, so have you thought about some courses that you want to do, that maybe you can develop yourself into something that does take your fancy? Give it a go. No. Okay then, I'm a bit lost here because you don't like your job, but you're not doing fuck all about it. That's one scenario. The other scenario is people are in their job, love their job, being paid to do their job comfortably, but don't know their fucking job. Well, they can sit there, and the amount of people that I've met that have gone into work and don't fully understand their job, and they go home stressed to fuck because they don't think they're doing the right thing or they haven't done the right thing, that is a massive stressor. That is a massive stressor. But what you don't realise is, by you not knowing your job, you're also putting strains on other people that have to pick up the pace because you're deficient in your knowledge. Even if you're in this, so say for instance, we all embellish our CVs, we all embellish what we say and look at what we need to say to get the tick box or the box ticked at the interview. We've all done that. And we've all got into a job where we've gone, I fucking shouldn't be here. This is fucking wildly dangerous. I remember going into my HSE role, my health and safety role, and I thought I knew health and safety. Did I fuck know health and safety? But I did health and safety for a year. Now in that year, admittedly, this is the mitigation plan that I want you to instill in yourself, is I went in and I upskilled myself, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And now I could have bumbled along getting paid a comfortable-ish wage to just bumble along and not really know and just be told what to do. But I would have gone home stressed. I would have sat in front of my computer stressed. I would have added stress. There might have been in a situation where we needed to react and I didn't react appropriately. And then I put stress on everyone else because you should fucking know. These are all scenarios where we actually don't realise we're putting stress on ourselves, huge amounts of stress, and we're putting huge amounts of stress on others. So what do we need to do? The same as what I've said to you on a roundabout way. When you come to your protection zone, when you go to work, look at developing yourself. Give yourself a challenge. Give yourself something to try. It's like literally, I said to my dad, I spoke to my dad, I hadn't caught up with him for a while, a couple of weeks, and he said, I think it's about 3 or 4 weeks actually, and he said, I haven't seen you for ages, just come over. So I went over and had a chat with him, a little catch up. And he said to me, you go for the job. I heard you had an interview last week. I was like, yeah, I just went for this job. Yeah, it's fine, give it a go. I'm pretty much there, but it was all right. And it's quite a high senior job for me, especially at 41. And he just looked at me and went, you just went for it, did you? Just had a go. And I was like, yeah. I was like, if I don't get it, what do I lose? If I've got what they want and I articulate that in the correct way, then I'm what they want. So you just got to go for things. And that's that challenge process. That's that upskilling. Because we can sit there. I know for a fucking absolute fact that my dad should have progressed himself. He's worth way more than the current status he's sat at now. Worth way more. But he never did. Why? I don't believe he was either pushed properly, or I don't believe he had the full confidence in his abilities. Now, I'm not saying that's a negative. I'm saying that's a negative of the organisation for not recognising those skill sets. One of the things I do recognise, and I spent today, I've become a mentor in work to a colleague of mine. And why have I done that? Because she's an Eastern European, and that's not the reason why, but let me finish the rest. She's Eastern European. She has fairly good English, but she's been absolutely brutalized in work. She's not been developed. She's not been treated well. She's been ostracized a little bit, and I spoke to her a couple of weeks ago, and I just said, how are you? Because we work alongside each other. She books the she sort of deals with the A-Hub side of things, admin hub, and she just broke down in tears. And I just went, okay, right, shit. Again, really difficult for me because I'm not an emotional person. So I try and, but I say I'm not an emotional person. I am an emotional person in my context of how I am. And I do understand people. So I just sort of calmed her down and just took her alongside and went into the conference room and had a good chat with her. And so found out that she just didn't want to work here anymore. But she needed the money and she was stressed and she was thinking about quitting, but she didn't know. So I just said, well, stop. Let's have a reset. Let's just stop there. Let's have a reset. We had a really good conversation for half an hour, which I took away. So I managed to get her back to reality, if you like, back to normality, and just calm her down. Not reality, normality, that's the word. Just bring her back to normality and just said, go sit at your desk. I'm just going to do something. Went in and spoke to her high-level manager who's looking after her and said, look, I'd like to mentor her. I think she needs coaching. And I absolutely will. And that's what I've done for the last, it's been 3 weeks. So, and that's just by giving her the confidence. And we had a meeting today because she's gone for this specific role, and I said I'd support her doing a bit of interview prep and just getting her confidence up. And at the start of the process, she still felt nervous to talk to me on Teams. And I was like, no, just calm, just take it step by step. Let's make it relatable to you. Let's make something relatable to you. So we did, and do you know what? She was really appreciative at the end. She massive thank yous. Never been support. She said, I've been in the civil side of things for 2 years, and she said I've never been supported, never. And I went, and she said to have somebody that's supported, and that's me. That's just I like to nurture people, and yeah, absolutely. She's going for a job. But that's just the positivity that we can instill. But anyway, I digressed a little bit there, sorry. But what I mean is, when you're in those protection factors, when you're in that protection zone, when you're looking after yourself, it's no different to work, no different to training, it's no different to upskilling somebody. All it takes is a conversation. Now, with Renata, my friend, she just lacked confidence. And it was just a conversation to boost the confidence of that person. Just absolutely boost her. To the point where I'm like, you've got everything. Just make it relatable to that person. And there's so many people that don't know how to do that in leadership roles. And that's really, really important. I think that because she was going home stressed. So her mental health was crippled to the point where I don't know her that well. Certainly not well enough, I would say, to normally open up your emotions to. However, I think hopefully it's my personality, and I just gave her the ability to let her sort of vent and just say, okay, so what you need to say, you're in a safe space. Let's just have an absolute open and frank conversation. Let's get out on the floor. Let's see what your problems are. And that's what I did. And that got her to the point where she's not stressing. She actually sees a positive future for her in her role. And she's looking at the development piece. And the fact that I'm going to coach her and mentor her, I'm already looking at courses to upskill her. I'm also looking at additional funded English courses that she can go to during work's time, just upskill her a little bit in her vocabulary, just so she knows about the structure of emails and things like that. So that's not a bad thing, but it's going to help her. It's going to absolutely boost her career. And I think that's the importance of everything, is looking at these people. Now, I recognise she needed support. You may recognise one of your friends needs support. If they're in that protection zone, we have to hold accountability, just like I said to you there. I am accountable for myself in that reflection zone. I am absolutely accountable. So what I do is I make sure that I do the right things. So even if I'm in my low mood, I make sure I get outside. I make sure I eat healthy. I make sure I reflect and I meditate. And I'm not talking about, again, doesn't have to be the bit. I'm talking about just mindfulness. Meditation in the sense of deep breathing, taking yourself out of a noisy and uncontrolled environment that normally our households are, and take yourself to a space where you feel you can just enjoy the spirits and sounds of the earth, if you like, if you want to get a bit spiritual in it. And I know that a lot of my friends, and I certainly do, enjoy our walks, getting out and about. It absolutely boosts the dopamine, the serotonin. It just boosts our whole mental well-being by being out. And now's the time. Now's the time. We're in this spring period now. It's a really positive sign for all of us to start getting outdoors. Don't use the last couple of years. I think unfortunately, we've got to this fucking point where, and I've been speaking to quite a few friends and some of my psychologist friends that I've been sort of kind of, that have done therapy with me, and I'm talking to them about these things. And they're saying this. It's a knock-on effect of the pandemic. People being locked in for such a long time, because a lot of people were locked in for a good year. Like, literally, there's people that never left their house for 2 years. Their social skills have just wiped themselves off. They're scared. It's almost like they've become a learned habit, which it has. We talk about learned habits, don't we? How many times do I say it? What's the learned habit timeline? 3 months, my man. 3 months. I know Nelly fucking said that. So, you know, these learned habits, but they can work in a negative concept. If the learned habit is a negative benefit, such as locking yourself away because the fucking government said so, but we took it to extremes. Some of us really did. And that just ruins our social ability, ruins what we are socializing. But we're social butterflies as human beings. We need to see people. We need to get out and engage with different people. We need, as much as people say this, and trust me, I can say, literally, I've lost count of how many times I've gone, I fucking hate people. I don't want to socialize them. I don't like people. No, I don't. I get to this because people do piss me off a little bit, but they piss everybody off. But at the same time, there's a small minority of people, our little lovely friendship group. If you've been listening from day dot, you will have nurtured the right people around me, or around you, not around me. They're around you now. That the ones that are key in your life engagement. These are the ones that are looking after you. These are the ones that are there for you when you need that call out. Maybe you've now nurtured your friendship to the point where you can say you're not okay. I know my little friendship group is like that. Absolutely. My little friendship group, if they're not okay, I'm feeling a bit shit, we all just jump on. Bosh, how are you? How's things going? It's so important to do that. And what that does really is bring me beautifully, you beautiful people, into what I want to talk about today. And that is, and you've seen the headline. You know what I'm talking about. A man without purpose. This has been sat on me for a week. Not physically, because it's words. But you know what I mean. But I wanted to talk about it. And it's been festering in my mind because, especially as I was doing my personal reflection during my protection time. We're going to call protection time. I think it's, it is. We all need it. We're all going through things. We need that protection time just to give us the energy and support we need as much as we can. I'm just going to sip my water. Hold on, 'cause my throat's got a bit dry. I'm fasting, by the way. In fact, I'm going to quickly say to you about that, actually. So I've been fasting for 2 weeks. And what I mean by fasting is it sounds a bit extreme, but it's not really extreme in the sense that it's 2 extremes you can take it. So what I do is I start eating at 11 o'clock in the morning. and I finish eating at 7 o'clock at night. Anything outside of those hours is just pure water or green tea. Green tea is not my bag. It's not my bag. But every now and then I do. But during the main hours, what you're supposed to do is eat healthy. But you can eat pretty much what you like. Okay, so within reason. I mean, I wouldn't go start chucking. We have to take a bit of common sense to what I'm saying here. Don't go fucking ramming down, plates of trifle and tiramisu with fucking a pizza upon every hour, because it ain't gonna fucking work. What it's supposed to do is it just cuts down your core eating hours. Now, I've tried fucking loads of diets. And I've tried exercise, I've tried high protein diets, I've tried the fucking keto diet, I've tried all these diets, I've tried everything apart from fasting. And by fasting, I was a bit apprehensive, to be honest. I was a bit like, not keen on this. I don't know whether I will. And I will say, the first 3 or 4 days, I was an angry bastard. I mean, fucking hell. Oh my God. And that was because I wasn't getting the sugars. I wasn't getting the sweets because I was used to eating at 8, 9 o'clock at night. I was used to a bowl of cereal and a bit of toast at 9 o'clock at night. I was used to waking up in the morning and just fucking eating because I was like, I've got to eat my breakfast because everyone says eat your fucking breakfast. And that's what I did. I was constantly, but I didn't realise I was eating all throughout the day. So my stomach was getting bigger. And I've cut this down to the point now where I'm like I'm in my 3rd week now. I've lost about 9 pounds, and I've lost an inch off my waist, which is the significant bit for me. That's the bit. I don't really care about weight. I care more about how my clothes fit. And I've noticed that my clothes are now feeling... I got back into a large, from an extra large. I got back into a large, nice fitted t-shirt. So, positive news. And what I've also noticed now is my sweet cravings aren't nowhere near as much as they used to be. I haven't had no chocolate today. So my sweet cravings have gone down. And I've noticed now that I'm not eating as much. Like, I'm physically leaving quarter of my plate at dinner. Or lunch dinner. I don't know how you say it, because I say it a bit differently. I say dinner tea. Some people say lunch dinner. But we're saying both. So at dinner time and tea time, I don't know, fuck it. The evening meal, I used to eat a big plate, fucking ramming it in with a fucking slice of bread, and I used to mop up the gravy or mop up the beans with a fucking slice of bread, whatever. That was where I was at. Now I'm like 3/4 of what I was. I'm also eating a nice, good, healthy dinner at see, you've confused me, lunchtime. And because I'm not eating till 11, when I eat at 11, I'm fucking starving. So I normally come in and I'm like, right, and I have to have pre-prepared now because I do get hungry. About 10 o'clock, I start getting a bit hungry to the point where I'm trying to do things for an hour to keep my mind occupied. But that is getting better. And then what I've noticed is if I've got a bit of nice food prepared, such as fucking, I don't know, today I had a load of fucking bananas and nuts with a little bit of Greek yogurt. Fucking lovely. Absolutely delightful. And I've noticed my palate's getting better. I've noticed that I'm also having Slimming World meals in the evening, so it's a nice controlled dinner. And that's it. And then afterwards, I'm just, like I said now, drinking fucking pints of water. And the effects are huge. And there is some serious, and I think maybe that's also, because one of my big downers, I think, was my weight. I'm very self-conscious of my weight, because I do put it on quite easily, and it is quite hard to take off. I'm one of those endomorphs, so that's nothing like an alien, that's a body type, where I can put on muscle really easily, but I also put on weight, so I need to do a lot of exercise. I don't like a lot of exercise. I like walking. I fucking hate running. I saw some guy running today, and I looked at his face, and he had a grimace on his face, and he was just coming out of the estate. So I assumed he wasn't sweating. He was a little bit of a racing pole, but he had a grimace on his face. I just looked at him and went, "You just don't look happy, mate. I mean, you do not look happy doing that. You're fucking, I don't know, maybe it's an inward thing. I don't really know. But obviously it will have something to do with the fact that, what we talk about all the time, it's exercising. Maybe that's his mental health release. Maybe he was angry and the mental health release is from running. I know the fucking spirit, but I know what he's doing it for. But I looked at him and went, that's just a fucking no from me. It's just a no from me. That does not look fun. I'm not interested in that. Please say no. So anyway, Where was I before I digressed into that? Oh, that's it. A man without a purpose. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is something that I'm trying to do to myself. Something I asked you all to do at the start of the year, and I didn't get any feedback, but it's paying its dividends now. That's the word I'm looking for. It's coming to fruition. My hard work, my goals are coming to fruition. What do I mean by that? I set myself some goals, some targets. I wanted to make my first sale in the first 3 months. Smashed it. I wanted to create some artwork and do a collaboration with somebody, a big company. Pirate Grog have just done that. Sent me a nice care package. I've created some artwork for them. Fucking tick that box. Goal achieved. I want to start losing weight and eating healthy. Goal is underway. Tick the fucking box. I want to build my confidence. Tick the fucking box. I want to fucking progress in my job. I'm trying. Tick the box. The goal's not hit yet. I gave myself a year. I'm doing it in 3-4 months. We're into the 4th month. I find out on Wednesday if that's come to fruition. It may be possible that I've got the promotion that I've absolutely been working tirelessly for. I've developed myself into this position to the point where I'm making myself desirable for promotion. It might come to fruition on Wednesday. These are the goals. I told you about goals, but what I am talking about, which is so much more important, it's giving me purpose. A man without purpose is nothing. And that is a fucking fact. Men need purpose. If you look right back into as far back as you want to go, I mean, I'm reading a lot at the moment that history seems to be all over the fucking place. Such as, I did read a little bit of a joke that the Egyptians created the pyramids 4,000 years ago, and then this comedian turned around and said, so you created the greatest thing, one of the greatest wonders of the world 4,000 years ago, and with pinpoint accuracy, fucking pinpoint measurements in the perfect place, and then you did nothing for 4,000 years. And then you look at our society when, you know, we created a mobile phone, fucking, I don't know, the computer and mobile phone would have been, fucking hell, top of my head, 1998, 96, I think. I don't know, because I was still fucking young. But anyway, I remember the pager coming out. We've gone from my 1996, in my generation, is the key point. In my generation, born in 1980s, I have seen the progression of fucking so much in time that now I do everything on a mobile phone. I used to just be able to play fucking Snake on a Nokia 3310. Now I'm fucking playing arcade games linked to an Xbox. I'm playing VR. I'm talking to you on a podcast that is fucking being recorded on a program and is going to be uploaded to the internet. This has all happened in my lifetime. So you're saying to me that 4,000 years ago they created this and then nothing happened. So anyway, I digress massively, but I was trying to make a valid point. But a man without purpose is nothing. Men, when you cast your mind back over history, have always had a purpose. And I can relate to this because of my ADHD. We're called, the ADHD gene is the hunter-gatherer. It's one of the old school genes. It's what I need. I need purpose. Because if I haven't got purpose, I'm not doing anything. The hunter-gatherer falls into my personality, into my mental state. I need to be doing something. I need to be learning, which is why I hold high testosterone levels, because I'm used to aggression. Aggression feeds dopamine. Anger feeds dopamine. I need that dopamine to be able to fight. Except that nowadays we don't need to fight. We don't need this. This is why the hunter-gatherer gene is subsiding, is dying out, because we don't need that gene anymore. We don't need to hunt for our food. However, we still have that mental state. We still have people that have that gene. Some people have it in small forms. Some people have it in fucking spades. I wouldn't even say I'm at the top of the spectrum, really, in terms of ADHD. I know people that get it a lot worse. And this is what I've been talking about with my therapist. It's the levels and the things that I've done over my past, which is learned habits, which make it even more difficult because I haven't embraced my ADHD. I haven't rolled with it. I've just kind of gone, what the fuck? Why am I not interested in that anymore? Why am I not doing this anymore? Why am I fucking low? I've not embraced it. I've just been fighting it, pumping fucking pharmaceutical drugs down me to try and give me the something to get going, which is ineffectively, okay, I think they're a really positive point. But at the same time, you'll learn as you go. I think absolutely fundamental when you're in that depression state to take those. But I've been on those for like 5 or 6 years now. So I'm trying to get to the point where I don't need to rely on this. I need to embrace my mental health. I need to take accountability. I need to give myself purpose. I need to give myself goals. Now that's even more imperative that I do that because of my condition. But at the same time, right down to the low level, you need purpose. A lot of men turn to drink and drugs because they don't have a purpose. They don't feel a purpose. So they take on other things because they want to remove themselves away from the reality that they haven't got that purpose. And I think that is what I've been doing, and I've done that for years. I've sat there and I turned to drink. I've fucking fought the system, but it's all because I never had purpose. I never had something to go. I never, even when I was, in my last role in for Serco painting helicopters, I never had a purpose there, which is why I took full advantage of my workplace, creating art and things like that. So I got something out of it, but I had never had an end goal. And it was when I got to 40 and I said to myself, and I cast your mind back to one of my early podcasts, I forced myself to absolutely change. I said to myself 2 years ago, develop yourself. By 40, you need to get into a career. If you're content to sit in this career and you're content to stay here for the next 25 years, that's the reality of where I got to. That's the maturity aspect. When I said to myself, are you content to do this for the next 25 years? Because the older you get, the harder it gets to change. And that's when that's the maturity aspect that I took. And I said that to myself when I was I think I was about 38. And I actively said to myself, right, I'm getting a bit threaders with this job. So I need to make a decision in the next year. Am I fucking staying here for the rest of my life? Can I see myself making enough changes and being comfortable enough to come into this job every day for 25 years with no progression, no nothing? Am I happy to do this for something I'd done for 21 years previously as well? I must caveat that. So I'd already done this job for 21 years. Do I want to continue for another 25? And I said, no, I don't. So I said I will make that choice by 40. 39, I made the choice, and I jumped across, and it was a terrifying experience. And it's taken me 2.5 years, I'd say 2.5 years almost since I left, to actually start making some changes. And that is because 2 years ago, and it's a long fucking slog. I never said mental health was going to be easy. I've never ever said it's going to be easy. Mental health is not easy. You're going to go through these challenges. You're going to go through these problems. But what I did was I said 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, my apologies, when I started this podcast, we'll use that as our anniversary point. I said to myself, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to develop myself. I'm going to invest in myself. I want to do this. I want to get to a point where I'm financially stable. I want to get to a point where I'm respected. I want to get to a point where I'm happy. I made all those decisions, and they have taken their time. I've taken a huge pay cut to start this journey, a huge pay cut, £700 a month I lost, because I said that is a sacrifice I'm willing to take. So I took that challenge. So that's what I'm taking. And I just ran with it, hoping that something would come to fruition. Then I invested in myself. Then I developed myself. And then I went, now is your time to shine, James. Now is your time to shine. And I gave myself purpose. And then I developed it even further this year. I gave myself goals, milestones, things I wanted to tick off my box. Excuse me, sorry. I've been talking so much. So, why is that important? Well, come on. What have I always said to you? This journey's about. It's raw. It's unedited. It's as it is. You've heard me in my downs. You've heard my lows. You've heard of me almost at my highs. But I'm not quite at my high yet. I'm telling you now, I am not at my high yet. But I can tell you one thing. I'm on the ladder. I'm out of the muck. I'm out of that low space where I was. I'm developing myself. Yes, we have fucking lies. We have lows. Yes, we have highs that take us to the high and we have to cascade down. But I'm making the conscious decision. What have I done? What have I done since this year? What is significant in this year that's made it worthwhile? I've joined a recreational club where I'm going to go weekly to speak to my mate and have a pint and a game of snooker routinely. I've engaged more. I've engaged with more people. I've taken on new challenges. I'm pushing for promotion. I'm DIY crazy in my house. I'm revamping it. The whole house has been designed from top to bottom because I've had the strength. I've had the enthusiasm to do it. It doesn't happen every day. This is long-term, people. This is long-term. It does not happen overnight. It's a long-term thing. Just remember that. It doesn't happen overnight. I've had 14 years of lows. So don't look at this now as going, oh, fucking hell, he's fucking got life sussed. No, I haven't got life sussed at all. But we're pulling ourselves away from the negativity and we're investing in ourselves. And what I mean by not having purpose, you have nothing. And men need purpose. I cast my mind back to the first thing that I've said to my doctor when I told him I'm sick of being low. And he said, James, what have you got planned for this year? And I went, what do you mean? I'm just trying to fucking survive, mate. And he went, that's your fucking problem, James. Not fucking, but I'm going to add the word because it's my vocabulary. He said, what? I said, what do you mean? He said, because you've got no purpose. Are you going to work to pay off an amazing holiday? Are you going to work to rebuild an extension, get a new car, fucking whatever you want to do? Whatever you want to do. Are you going to work to pay off your debts, put some money in savings, and then fuck off to a different country? What is your purpose? Give yourself structure. Give yourself a 5-year plan. Give yourself the goals you need. Hit the milestones. Give yourself some little achievements along the way. This is why I'm ticking today, because I've given myself little achievements. I've continued with the podcast. Yes, I weigh from time to time. We have to weigh from time to time because life is fucking a barrage. It's a barrage. But what we do have is ourselves, our journey, our path. I've spoken about this. When you're on your path, when you're in protection mode, develop yourself. Don't sit there and just wallow in your self-pity. Look at yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, are you fucking happy? Do it for me. Look in the mirror. Go look in the mirror. Listen to me now. I'm going to stop for 20 seconds. I don't care how you fucking do it. Go and look in the mirror and look at yourself truly. Please, for me, are you happy with where you're going? Come back. So, are you happy? Are you happy? Ask yourself the question and truly answer it. If you're not, now's your time to stop, start again, refresh, find out why you're not happy. Don't just bin stuff. Work on it. Work on your relationship. Work on your job. Work on your advancement. Work on your next step. Give yourself a 5-year plan. Give yourself the motivation. Give yourself little tiny milestones that will keep you happy, that will keep you focused. Don't just stick with a 5-year plan because you will not stick with it. You will not. Give yourself 3-month increments. Set yourself a goal for 3 months. My goal for 3 months as well was I want to start a fasting plan. I'm 3 weeks in. I'm fucking 1 inch off my waist and 9 pounds down. The plan works. Keep my podcast. I'm still here talking to you. Develop my artwork. I've sold a piece. I've done a collaboration piece with Pirate Grog. Give yourself the milestones. It will make you happy. And now's the peak time. The sun's coming out. Nature is upon us. Vitamin D is upon us. The stuff that we're deficient in is coming back. What is your excuse? There is no excuse. Get out there and do it. Because if you need to get out and do it, if you're not content and you've just sat and stood in front of the mirror, looked in your screen, whatever you fucking did, looked in the window at the reflection staring back and you said, no, I'm not. You've taken the first step you need. You've acknowledged it. You've identified it. Now do something about it. Now do something about it. I'm going to finish on that beautiful little note because I am on my 2-week hollybobs. So I'm going to give you, I've got a couple of little things I want to do over the time, actually. I've got some nice, beautiful stories that I want to record to give you a little bit of motivation. I want to give myself the motivation. I've taken on an amazing, actually, this is another thing, another goal, another milestone that I didn't expect, actually. It was an inserted milestone. I've started a second job where I'm just basically going down to a local golf range and I'm doing a little bit of work for them. So I'm getting paid to, and it was my best friend actually that got me the job. He said to me, "I owe you one," because I've got him 2 very important jobs, and he was like, "I owe you one." I was like, "Absolutely," and almost to the point where I think we only been in 3 hours, and the manager, absolutely fucking amazing lady, said, "I'll just leave you 2 to run it." And we were already saying, like, can I get some gravel to do the park unlock? I'm already doing some design work for a poster for them, or a big sign for the rules. But it's great. Do you know why I did this? And the reason I did it, and she accepted this, because I told her, open and transparent, it's a second job. I can't commit to massive amounts of hours. But what it is doing is it giving me the fun back in life. Because the job involves sitting in a ball collecting cart where, you drive around the driving range, you've all seen them. And normally I'm the one trying to fucking hit the guy in the cart. It's hilarious. And you drive around and you can see these people fucking trying to drive at you. And you're like, ha, now I'm in this fucking destruction derby. It's amazing. And but it brings a smile on my face. And I'm outdoors. I'm cutting grass. I'm doing what men do. She's like, oh yeah, there's a tractor over there if you want to go and do that. I'm like, it's all machinery. It's outdoors. It's the sun's coming down. It's the perfect time to start it because the seasons are changing. What better way to start your morning than doing watching the sunrise, looking at a golf course and a driving range, picking up balls, just bumming along with some music in. Why have I done that? Well-being. Irrelevant of the money. The money's a bonus because what the money's going to do, those additional hours they are work hours, but I don't call it work because it's one of those jobs that it pays just enough to support me to be able to go on holiday potentially twice a year. That's so something I've not been able to afford to do in my primary job. This second job, and trust me, I know there's a lot of people out there that go, fuck me, man, I've got 3 jobs to survive. So if you can afford to go on holiday, and I'm not looking at it as a brag point, I've invested massive amounts. Like I said, for me, you can get there. So please don't take that as a negative. Anybody can get there. I didn't have any fucking disposable income at all. It's fucking 2 years ago. And I made that investment in myself. And I went to the organisation and said, invest in me. And they said, and if they ever turn around to you and say, we can't afford it, we'll say, well, that means you can't afford my replacement then, because you can't afford a advertising campaign. You can't afford recruitment. You can't afford training. So if you can't afford those 3 fucking things at a minimum, then, you're not going to be able to, and you are going to be able to afford my pay rise because it won't be as much as those 3 things. So remember that when you're going in for your negotiations. Just highlight that to the things. Get them to invest in you. But you have to want that desire as well. Don't just fucking wait for it to fall on your lap because it will not happen. Organisations rely on you to be open, transparent and motivated. But that will all come into play when you get these milestones and you get the key parts. So yes, the bonus fact is I get to work, and it is still work. So it's not like I'm not doing work. It is still work. So, but it's going to afford me the ability to go, and I'm talking local little holidays, just because I'm not talking fucking Mauritius 2 weeks, fucking Sandy Bay, all that sort of jazz. I'm just talking about local holidays. It's going to give me the ability to just decompress, and I'm decompressing in a job while I'm doing it because my other job's really stressful. It's all about well-being. It's all about work-life balance. Getting it right, but at the same time, even if I do this for a couple of years to see the tough times through, the prospects are great. And again, that's involved in my 5-year plan. Get to the point where in 2 years' time, completely debt-free, hopefully, if nothing fucking crops up and smashes me in the face between there now and then, And that's my goal. So that then my money that comes in's where it should be. It should be investing in me. It should be having fun. It should be taking myself out of work and going enjoying life. That's what we all try to do. But you're not going to get there. None of these things are going to happen unless you sit down and acknowledge what you need to do. So start doing it. Start doing it. Be a man with a purpose, not without. Thanks for listening, everybody, you sexy, sexy bastards. Thank you, Nelster, for prompting me. Very, very valid points, mate, and I'm here. You can listen in, boy. And I hope you're well. I hope all my friends are well. Everyone that's listening, I hope you're all well. Everybody, let's do this. We're doing this together as a team. Thank you for listening to me. Take care, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Whoop, whoop.